Ghosts and ghouls, demons and aliens, monsters and worse. Only here on Ghost or What, the best channel for original scary stories. Our next story is A Boy Meets a Ghost Girl on a Blind Date. I was sitting on the chair, eagerly waiting for my day to arrive. I was very nervous as it had been just a month since we had started talking to each other. I found her on Facebook. She approached me, and after chatting for a month, we finally decided to meet each other. It had been 2 years since I had completed my degree, and I straight away started my small business. After working day and night for 2 constant years, finally, I had been called among one of the rising stars of the country. After waiting for another 10 minutes, I finally saw her entering the restaurant. I could not take my eyes off her. She was indeed the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. She looked a little confused and scared. I fell in love with her innocent face. I waved to her from my seat and stood for her. She came smiling toward me and sat in front of me. We started talking to each other. She told me that she had completed her degree in fashion design and was currently working with a designer. I was impressed as the name she took was one of the best among all. We talked for hours and hours without realizing the track of time. When we had finished our meal, Amanda asked for a long drive, upon which I quickly agreed. I just wanted to wander around in the city, but she insisted on going to a distant place. She loved the calmness of the night, and the cities were overcrowded. I did not want to, but I obliged. After a while, we stopped at some quiet place and started walking. I asked her about her lifestyle and her favorites. She was doing the same when suddenly a thought came into my mind. Amanda, you decided to spend your time with me here in this deserted place, I started. Were you not scared of me? I could have been a serial killer or something. Nopes, she smiled. I was not scared at all. But why not? I could have been a psychopath. Because I know you are not, she replied calmly. But how? I insisted. I cannot tell you that, she grinned sheepishly. We kept talking for about an hour, but my mind was still thinking about our conversation. I was very amazed at how it was possible that such a pretty girl like Amanda was not concerned about the fact that I could have been a kidnapper or something. I could not think of anything. She was telling me something about her friends, but I was unable to concentrate on what she was telling me. But you know that it was possible, right? I interrupted her. What? She asked me, her eyes filled with confusion. That there was a possibility of me being a kidnapper. I looked into her eyes. She had the prettiest eyes. Her eyes were so dreamy that I wanted to keep looking at them. She laughed, the most sophisticated laugh I had ever heard. You are still stuck, she said, smiling. Yeah, I mean, how it is possible that a girl like that was not afraid of anything? I asked again. She just rolled her eyes and smiled. You know, I could have been a ghost, I said to her, smiling. A ghost, she exclaimed. Are you afraid of the ghosts? I asked her. She came closer and whispered, No. Come on, I said out loud. Why are you insisting on it? She asked again. I just want to know. I stopped, then continued. You know my house is there. I pointed inside the woods. I live there with my many other ghost friends. Come on, she laughed. No, I am not joking, I said again with a serious expression. You know, 100 years ago, I used to live here with my family. Come on, Amanda finally said. It is getting annoying. Okay, I raised my hands in surrender. Relax, I am just joking. I already know that, she replied. Or maybe not. I winked. We kept talking to each other about different things. I noticed some of Amanda's weird habits. She was rarely blinking her eyes. I felt amazed and confused at the same time that how come a person can go without blinking. All of a sudden, I heard weird sounds coming from a distance, sounds like some animal was choking or something. I think we should leave the place, I said to her with a worried expression. I think this place is not safe. There must be several wild animals around. But Amanda remained calm. It seemed like she had not even heard me. She kept walking with her eyes closed. I had to call her name to get her attention. I asked her again to leave the place, but she simply denied that the sounds were just caused because of the winds. I was not satisfied with her answer. I was amazed at how calm and poised she was. Even the possibility of a wild animal around was not making her terrified. I asked her again about the secret of such a calm and poised personality. She just smiled and totally ignored my question. At that point, I was getting frustrated. I wanted to return and go home, but Amanda was not ready to leave. We were still walking together, but we were hardly speaking to each other. All the stance that had caged me felt like it was wearing off. I was just continuously checking the time as I wanted to leave. Suddenly, she asked me if I wanted to leave as I was continuously checking the time. I felt embarrassed, but replied to her with affirmation. I told her that I was getting late and that I had to run some errands the next day. She just smiled and said nothing. After about another half an hour, I asked her again to leave, and finally, she agreed. I let out a sigh of relief as we were leaving the place. It took us 20 minutes to return to the city as the roads were less crowded. When we reached a very crowded street, she turned toward me. I wanted to tell you something, she said to me, with a strange smile on her face. What? I asked in confusion. The whole time you kept asking me about my calm and trusting nature and how it was possible to be like that, she started. I kept staring at her. I could not decide how to reply to this. She did not wait for my answer and kept going. Actually, she hesitated. You know I am a ghost. I started laughing loudly. Now you are playing with me. I was unable to speak, as I was laughing too hard. Well, you can laugh as much as you want, but I am not tricking you. I am a ghost, and that was why I was not losing my calm the whole time. She replied without any expressions. Yeah, right, I managed to say. Then why were you not telling me this before? Because I knew if I told you in that quiet place. She stopped, then continued with a smile. You might not have survived. As she finished her sentence, she disappeared, and I was left there with my jaws dropped open in the middle of a very crowded place. Did you think that was the end? The terror never ends. Subscribe to our channel to hear more horror stories. Only on Ghost or What?